Welcome today to another one of God KC's God's Guides. And today we're going to be going over something called Tempoross. Tempoross is a boss that can be fought in the desert. You do have to do a few quests to really get here, at least easier. Enrica's limit, I do the teleport right outside. As you can see, you can use the Cumulant Amulet to teleport in the temple or the surface. There's a person inside that you can actually charge this to have unlimited charges. It costs 1 mil. So worth it, especially if you're going to be doing this in moderation, kind of like I've been doing. Now, a little background on Tempoross, and we'll get right into the guide real quick. You do need 35 fishing to go after Tempoross. The equipment I would suggest is the Infernal Harpoon at 75 fishing. Technically, I wouldn't do the 10 to 11 ticket method with less than 75 fishing anyways. You can use the Crystal or Dragon Harpoon. Personally, I like the Infernal Harpoon if you're able to use it. So if you're an Iron Man and that's too hard for you, you can still use the Dragon or the Crystal. Or if you're short on cash, you can still use the Dragon and Crystal. It's just a lot easier with Infernal, just because on the third phase, we're going to kind of skip a few things. The outfit I'm using is the Spirit Angler outfit. You can use the regular Angler outfit while you're still acquiring tickets. You can also not use any of the outfits, but if you have either one, I would suggest using it. Now, going into the inventory setup, because I have the Spirit Angler, I'm going to need a hammer, and I'm going to need 8 buckets of water. Now, these are kind of more like my placeholders. I will probably need like 3 to 4 of these for the solo trip, just because of the way I do the first round. I don't always make it up top to get them down to 10% before the 30% for the storm. Because there will be 2 things that will be done at 15 and 1 at 30. You'll have the Colossal Wave, and then you'll have the storm. It pretty much repeats the same way every single time, so it makes it super simple. And you're thinking, why should I do Tempoross, right? Well, Tempoross is good for a few things. And looking at the collection log that I'm going to go into real quick here, just because I'm unlucky and don't have it yet, is the fish barrel. This allows you to fish pretty much AFK. It's great if you're going to do anglers. You can just pretty much sit there and use a fish barrel. Also, the tiny Tempoross pet is really cool. Now, as we get into this, if you didn't have the Spirit Angler and just regular Angler, replace one of these buckets with a rope, because you will need the rope to tether yourself to one of the poles during the Colossal Wave. If your buckets aren't full, come right up here. You can use a water pump that's on the boat. All you do is pop up, use water pump, climb down, and you're good to go. Now, there's a few options here. You can use the climb, quick climb, or solo start. If there's no one here, you can do either one of the two. But personally, I just like to do the solo start, just because it starts immediately. Now, when you make it to the island, there's going to be 2 fishing spots that are open. They're both going to be surrounded by the blue borders, which means they're a single fishing spot. The green one will be a 2 fishing spot, and you'll see a fish jumping out of the water. This is why I like the Infernal Harpoon, because it cooks them as you fish. Typically, if you don't have the Infernal, you'll want to do 8 and go back. If it's cooking some, I do 10 and then wait for the double fishing spot. Alright, now I'm going to go and cook. See, now the storm intensity is starting to build up. At 15, we're going to want to make sure we tether ourselves to that totem pole. Now we have a double fishing spot, so the quicker we can get our inventory full, the better. You really only need to get to right here full, and then you can cook everything and come back down. But if you have a double spot like this, you might as well fish to the full inventory. You can come and wait next to the pole and just tether yourself right there at 14, 15, and we get our wave. Wait for the wave to go, and then we're going to start cooking again. Now you can look, because sometimes this damage or the mass up here will be damaged and needs to be repaired, which gives us some extra points. Neither one of them were damaged, so neither one of them need to be repaired, but that's okay. We're just going to cook to get our 16. We're going to run right up here. And there's going to be another part where the storm is going to come across. Just make sure that blackened, darkened spot isn't where you're standing when you're loading this, because you will lose half of your stuff or more, and you don't want to do that. So you're going to load to 16. You're going to douse the fires. Now temp will be down to 10% energy, and there will be no more waves or storms for this entire video. This is what makes it super chill, super easy. I think wave 3 is probably the most intense, and you'll see why, just because we're going to be doing a lot more with it. So we're going to come up here and cook. We've got 6 to cook because there's no double spawns. We just want to make sure we're up there, but we're going to be heading that way by the time this hits 90, because if we're not, the storm intensity could be too great and you'll lose the round. We're still going to wait for the double spawn. There it is. See that nice little green box? If you're on Runelight, it will show up and highlight like that. That's perfect. Makes it so much easier to see. And we're getting really lucky with the Infernal Harpoon procs. So once you get that set, you have a total of 19 fish in your inventory. You're going to come here and load this cannon completely. You're going to empty your full inventory on this. You want to do that so the next time he spawns, it actually fires and drops him right down to 10% energy again, and you have another completely free round. Now you notice on the other side there's a bunch of fire. Don't worry about that. That buildup won't reach you by the time you're done. And as soon as you're done, click on the little spirit pool down here to harpoon it, which will hurt Tempoross. You want to go to about 65 essence or 65 HP, whatever you want to say. And as soon as you hit 65, you're just going to start fishing again. So right now. It was still building up when we left, which makes this a really easy round for us, especially since all we have to do on this round is fish another 19 fish, have them all cooked. And cooking the fish also does more damage to Tempoross, which is why you want to have the inventories cooked. Don't leave them raw, because it will mess up the whole damage and the energy. Alright, that one's gone. Let's just cook these fish. We'll see if another one appears. And usually on the second wave of this, what I'll end up doing is filling these buckets up on the boat. There's another double spawner right there. And this method here is pretty much guaranteed to hit 11 tickets every single time. I think every once in a while I'll see a 10 ticket, but not very often. Especially when you douse out the fires, or you have to do one of these totems, or the mast up there. So if you have to tether or fix that one, that tether spot, we're actually gonna do this before we drop them down completely. Then we don't have to do it on the boat beforehand. Just makes it easier for next round, since we're not going to be using them again this round. Same thing you did the first time. Fill this completely full and do the spirit pool. Second round is probably the second wave is probably the easiest out of this method. You have so much time to do everything. The third wave is kind of probably the hardest. The first one is a little bit more setting up too, but it's not bad. Now on this one, we're going to want to try to get it down to about 30. A little bit below is nice too, if you can. Two more hits. And then we're going to leave. We're going to start fishing again. Now this one, we're actually going to do 2 full inventories of cooked, but we're going to drop one of them at the further cannon spot, so that way when we down it, we can down it right immediately after, and that builds even more points. The regular 9 method would be just downing it one more time and finishing it off, but we're not going to do that. We are going to get a full 2 19 inventories and do them both, because that will give us right around 9k points, which should give us the 11 tickets. And if you're wondering, the timer is almost about the same. It may take you another 20 seconds for another 2 tickets. To me, that's worth it. So once we finish this, if you have menu entry swapper, that's perfect. I understand if you don't, or if you're doing this on mobile, but it just makes it easier. You're going to come right next to this one, you're going to hit shift, and you're just going to click on all these. Now we have 19 dropped on that side. We're going to come back down. Hopefully you have another double spawn like we do right now. If you don't, that's fine. Go to the blue. You always want to be fishing in this last wave. Fishing or cooking? Fishing or cooking? Since that one just despawned, I know I can fish here for a little bit. Again, you're going to try to make sure you make it back up there before this storm intensity hits 90. Just that way you can load that last one and get it down. And you want to also try to down it. So we got another double spot. Sweet, that's perfect. We want to try to down it twice here. And that's where you get the extra points, is by downing it twice. Now, you wouldn't want to typically go past the third round, because the storm intensity builds up so quickly in the fourth round that it's very, very difficult to keep up with it. And that's also why we load 2 cannons, because 1 cannon just isn't enough. So now we just sit here, we're going to be cooking these ones. We're going to go up, load 1 cannon. As soon as we're done with that, we're going to be picking up all the fish we dropped and loading the other cannon. Super, super simple, super easy, and 11 ticket games. See, we still have plenty of time. We're going to get up there, and it's going to be down before we even hit 90 intensity. Fill this completely. Make sure your whole inventory is empty. Almost there. Spam click these to pick them all up. The idea is to have this fully picked up and loaded before the energy builds up. As you can see, it starts building a little bit quickly here, but that's okay. Fill this right full. And you'll make it down there before the pool respawns anyways. So you'll have a full go at the pool, which is pretty nice. because you'll easily drop the rest of the essence down. So now it's dropped. As you can see, the storm intensity was building up really quickly there. But that's okay, because we're finishing it right now. Right now we can just take our fingers, our hands right off the mouse, because we are done. You'll see this should be right around 8.9K. And see, we got 10 permits that time. Most of the time you'll get 11, but not all the time. So it's a 10 to 11 ticket method. I've been getting, majority of the ones that I've been doing lately have been a 11. I've been back here, I started back here at 146, so I've done 12 total, and I've already built 128 permits. So there's a whole bunch of rewards there for me. I'm going to keep going until I've done 100kc here, and hopefully that will be enough for my fish barrel and my tackle box. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and a subscribe. And if you want to game with me at all, you can also join our Discord, which will be in the description below. You can search us up on Discord. It's KC Kingdom, and in game it's also KC Kingdom. Those may change. If so, I'll make sure the description's always up to date in all of these videos down below. Until next time, this is God's KC, and I'll see you later.